It's time now for a look back at what's been happening in Iran. It's been more than 2 years since the Women, Life, Freedom protests. Franco-Afghan journalist Mortaza Behboudi had been following them and had been able, undercover at times, to speak with ordinary Iranians. He's compiled this report.
It's another day on the streets of Tehran, but behind the scenes, society is changing. For the past 2 years, a wave of defiance has been spreading across the country. Sogand, a musician and performer, defies the laws by singing without a hijab, a simple yet bold act in a country where religious laws are strictly enforced. For the past 10 years, underground concerts have been on the rise. I know how they're organized because it was what I fought for. I organized concerts for female singers. Under the current regime, they can't obtain permits and struggle to find venues to perform in. And I provided them with that opportunity. Like many artists, Sogand shares videos of herself singing on social media. She was emboldened in December when she saw a video of a famous Iranian singer step on stage without a hijab and perform a concert. Look, your muscles are working here. Her determination has inspired many young women to learn to sing and express themselves freely. Today, Sogand shares her passion by offering private lessons both online and in person. When I watched Parastu Ahmadi's online concert, I was deeply moved from start to finish. Even now, I still feel very emotional about it. That was something we hadn't seen in years, something we worked so hard for. Her performance has immense significance. Since the Woman Life Freedom movement, perspectives on women have changed. People respect us, they respect our choices. They applaud us, they say bravo for what we do, for our courage. They also congratulate me for supporting my students and for the lessons I give. Looking ahead, I have a lot of hope. I see the change, even if it may take years in our society, but I have faith in the future. A few kilometers away, Majid runs an underground theater workshop. Until the age of 33, his name was Sarah. As an actor and transgender activist, he fights on two fronts, one of identity and one of artistic expression. In Iran, the regime enforces a strict binary norm. While gender transition is legal, it requires medical approval, and trans individuals still face deep societal stigmas.
Society's view of sexual minorities and trans people is overwhelmingly negative, especially towards trans women. In this patriarchal society, they're often degraded, associated with prostitution, and reduced to their sexuality.
Majid has also created an underground network to help the LGBTQ+ community shield themselves from a system that condemns them. His living room is where he holds secret gatherings, which have become a sanctuary of freedom. It's here where he tries to combat discrimination and misinformation.
راه حلم چیه؟ یعنی آیا من باید چون که عمل نکردم آیا باید هنوز پسرونه بیام بیرون؟
In some hospitals, they give us electroshock therapy, like they did to me 3 times. They also give us medication, convince us that we're sick. I have to educate young people. A psychologist shouldn't even have the authority to decide if we are trans or not. We're not sick.
In Iran, resistance can be done with protests on the streets or secretly in homes through music and the theater. For Sogand, Majid, and many others, being free to express themselves is an everyday act of resistance.
And joining us is Mortaza Behboudi, the Franco-Afghan journalist. Mortaza, your last trip to Iran was in 2022 at the height of the Women Life Freedom protests. You have compiled what you found in a book that's published in French called Women Life Freedom, Femme, Vie, Liberté in French, to be translated into English?
Yeah, soon, hopefully.
Soon.
Yeah.
Okay. You've not been back since. So to film the report that we just saw, talk us through it. How did we just see those recent images?
Of course, yeah. You know that the Iranian young people now, they are forming different resistance, and since the movement, they cannot protest anymore in the streets, but they are making that differently, and this everything going to the street with a scarf is the active resistance, organizing this clandestine parties, going to the cafes.
Your book, by the way, reads a bit like an Iran by night kind of tale.
Exactly, and my duty as a journalist is also to find a way. I cannot go to the ground, I cannot go to Iran or other countries in war, but I can find my way how to report on. And what I did, I contacted them with my contact. I have a lot of contact because I grew up in Iran. Then I asked them if you can film for me this with this angle and send it to me, and through the of course the signal and the other solution of the video transfer. Then I received this and I made editing from here, and I could understand it because I speak the language, and I made this report, right?
And how was their filming? These are not professional camera people.
I teach them actually from here. I teach them how to film, the angle, how to film it, that we can also not showing hide the identity. Of course, it was very important now from here to how to dig, how to investigate, how to also protect our sources. Then, yeah, I passed many days to talking to them in Persian, helping them how to film.
Even with their faces blurred, is it still a risk?
We did a double everything. We blurred them, double checked. We changed of course, the voice. But now we did the maximum to not be identified in Iran. But unfortunately, in Iran, they are buying these surveillance cameras in the street to identify the women with a scarf and sending the fine to their dorms. I know many girls, students, they receive their fine at the.
Because at one point there was an image, you blurred the faces of women who...
was double the blur.
At one point there was a woman just walking down the street in the other direction who presumably had nothing to do with the video at all, who also was not wearing a scarf.
Yeah, because
what does that tell you?
But it's the street, you see, that as we showed in the book, that some women, they were wearing scarf, but they take in the hands of the daughters, they are not wearing the scarf. And we see this in Iran many. Before was during the movement, Women Life Freedom, we see this in the big cities like Tehran and Isfahan, but now they're everywhere. These women, they are everywhere in Iran not wearing a scarf and showing the regime that, yeah, we continue protest, but differently. And also, the regime cannot apply their own law, which is hijab and chastity. That it's still that the hijab police, which we call it, and the Basijis, they're also deploying that. Who are
the morality police?
The morality police, but also this paramilitia, they're volunteers. They have these offices in each corner in the university, of course, near to the mosque, everywhere in the different districts, in order to identify these women. But still, the regime cannot, of course, arrest everyone.
They can't arrest everyone, but they have been able to put a lid on the protests.
Unfortunately, they executed at least 975 people last year. In only 1 month, in December, 138 people were executed, among them also foreigners. Iranian regime continue to this death penalty since to oppress this the resistance, of course.
And we heard in that report the one woman talking about the underground music scene and how she's aware of what's going on where. Is that underground music scene as alive as it was when you were there? Because there was a bit of exuberance when you went undercover. It was the height of the movement in 2022. Does that still exist?
You know that before of the Women Life Freedom, there were no clandestine theaters, for example. But everything doubled up now. That since the 2 years and a half, the Women Life Freedom, everything doubled. Every night in Tehran now, there are 10 times more of these parties, clandestine parties. They are organizing and they're hidden. And also we have this Telegram groups. I'm still in it. That I receive invitations coming to these parties. They're organizing, and also these meetings, conferences, the theaters. They're now because they want to play as an actor without a scarf. They want to chant. They want to play music, sing without a scarf. And we have this more and more, hundreds of, after the Parastu Ahmadi, this woman that we showed, she's still waiting for the judgment from the court in Iran, that she sang, of course, and she was arrested. But we see hundreds and hundreds of women singing without a scarf. On the social media, they are showing their face, and they don't have a fear of the regime.
And the movement of 2022, it was something that was national. It was all social classes. It was all ethnic backgrounds inside of Iran. As we were saying earlier, there's since been the crackdown, and the country's been in a state of suspense, you might say, because you have an aging, the clerics who are aging, who are at the helm. What are they telling you in terms of what their state of mind is, the people there right now?
Right now, they are not asking only for change. They are making the change. You know that since the beginning of the Women's Life Freedom, they risk everything. They're ready to risk everything to go even to prison, see even executed people, and many young people. We saw it with the Tumaj, with many actors, with many celebrities were arrested and freed because of the international sanctions. And also we saw it here in after this act of Ahu Daryai, who has lost her clothes in the University of Azad, Islamic Azad. We saw it every day and every day. But the demand is to see the country to asking for the secularization. That the Sharia, that there are not going to be any Islamic law involving the country. But these young people, they're not behind this slogan. We hear it, Women Life Freedom, the chance of this resistance. The whole country is behind this, not only young people.
I want to thank you so much for being with us, Mortaza Behboudi. And again, that report on our website, France24.com. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Stay with us. There's more to come, more news, and then the France 24 debate. It's a Germany under pressure that's going to the polls on Sunday domestically, and also from foreign actors. Is there meddling on the part of Russia, but also now the United States with the Trump administration backing the far right? That's coming up in the France 24 debate.